25th, 2022. It is now 5:08 p.m. and I will call the meeting into order. I will do a roll call of board members. Myself, Ravonda Smith. Vice Chair, Claire Cousin. Here. Treasurer, Rebecca Wolf.
Here.
Secretary, Rebecca Bohr.
Here.
And Tenant Commissioner Anthony Bennett, who should be joining us shortly. We will get right into new business. The first thing on the agenda is the ED candidate recruitment update, which is very exciting. Did everybody get the candidates that I sent to them? Were they able to look everything over like I did? Because I was just so
Do you want to wait for Linda?
Possibilities. However, there are a lot of things going on in the
I
theorized.
think she's broadcasting the other meeting.
Be prepared.
you can mute her though. You can mute her, being the host. Listen, when you got jobs to do, you got jobs to do.
All right,
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Okay. All right. So did everybody get a chance to look at those exciting candidates that we were able to receive?
Yeah,
Yes.
I did. They're great.
Okay, and then there was one more that they sent today as well, that I sent to everyone.
Yep.
Simone's goal is to set up interviews this Thursday. She's been reaching out to the candidates today to see what times work for them, but she did want me to let the board know to be pretty open for Thursday because that's when she would like to set up interviews,
This coming Thursday.
this coming Thursday.
Okay, I'm free after 11:30.
Okay. And if anybody has like maybe sometimes where you want me to try to say, hey, can you, like Claire just said she's free after 11:30, so then I can ask her to like do the interviews after 11:30, or if somebody has another like hard no time, if they can just say that now, and then I can try to send that to her tonight, so then she can work around that.
I do have
conflict.
I have conflict on Thursday. Pretty much up until around 3 or 4. So just depending, as long as there's quorum, I think it'll all be good.
I do have some conflict, but I can't remember what it is right now, but I know it's something. So I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. Everybody can just email me tonight, and then I can send that to Simone, and then she can work around that as best as she could. But as we know, it was due for Nick's last day to be this Friday, so this is why we're really on a tight schedule for this ED director.
And regarding that, just to make clear, because there was a little confusion after the Register Star article last week, I have agreed, after the board requesting for me to stay on for an additional 2 weeks of training for the new ED once they are hired. And so we are all hoping that that hiring happens soon. And as I said, I'm committed to hanging on to not just leave anybody in the lurch and make sure that that transition happens as smoothly as possible. So I'll at least be going past this Friday.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Anthony's saying he can't get in.
Did you send him the new link?
I'm pretty sure it was the new one, yeah.
I also sent in the new one.
There's not like a waiting room kind of thing.
Mhm.
Just make sure it was the right one.
Rebecca Bohr said she sent him the new one as well.
Before you go to the mural project, I was just curious about what it's looked like having the community room open.
Would anybody from the community like to talk about having the community room open during the day now that we're out of the COVID protocols?
Yes, please.
I don't think he knows.
Have you seen a lot more traffic in here? We left, as of last meeting, it's been open. So-
Not too much traffic.
No,
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 and are the computers up or they're not working?
the internet is still not working. We did find out that was a previous internet network connection that we had from Mid-Hudson Cable. That was a free thing. I think it actually came from when there used to be the youth computer room.
Okay,
And so that got turned off at some point. And so we haven't had internet here for a while.
or cable, can they use the TV?
I believe the cable is still working there because I know I've seen people in here watching cable. So I believe the cable hookup is still going. But we were actually just in here with Shaheem today working on getting internet here. And so that's going to be an ongoing project.
Cool.
Yep. But yeah, it's been, the traffic has been light. It's open basically from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. right now. And as I said before, once the security guard position is feeling good, and that is kind of more stable, I hope to open up during the evenings too, while that shift is open, so that the community room will be open during the day.
I think there's a birthday party down there already.
Okay, that's good.
Okay,
Yeah, that's nice and good.
Oh, good.
It'd be nice to have like a ping pong table or something stashed in the closet for the evening, so it's open and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll also just get an update from the community members of how the security
Yeah.
guard position has been working.
Very good man.
Yeah,
You love it?
Well, I sleep every night.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for that update.
There was
Thank
so
you.
many
so-
wild things going around, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I like to sleep at night sometimes,
Yes.
but it was terrible. Yeah.
Well-
There was domestic going on the family side of the ninth floor, and I didn't get no sleep. So you can't really go banging on doors to the police. But I think the security guard man, yeah, I know him pretty good, and I think you made a good choice.
Oh, thank you.
It's great to hear.
Thank
He'll make
you.
a difference, I think.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was here when we had the last security guard, Mr. Murphy, and they kind of taunted him and they didn't follow the rules. But I see improvement.
That's a great update. Thank you so much
Great.
for that.
Great to hear.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Mike? You have anything?
Good, it's good.
Good.
Anthony's still trying to get in. Oh. I don't know if I can do that. Hi, Anthony, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I guess we'll just try to do it while you're on the phone with us right here, phoned in.
yeah, why can't I get into the meet? I'm on this thing here looking, they keep saying the host has another meeting in progress.
Oh, you're.
That's the old link. That's the link from the first one. You clicked on the new links that I sent you?
I clicked them on, here on the phone and it won't let me in. It says invalid address.
Well, let's just do it like this. We'll have you
no,
call.
if he copies and pastes it into his browser instead of Zoom, it'll do it. Cause sometimes if it's like too last minute,
Yeah,
that's happened to us in like HCHC meetings. Can you try to copy and paste what Nick sent you and do it in your browser? Like if you go to your internet from your phone and copy and paste it in the search bar, that might work.
Copy and paste it. Nope, not working.
No,
all right, well, we'll do it like this. We've got you on here. Everything else seems to be working. Rebecca Wolf, can you give us a thumbs up? Can you hear Anthony? Okay, great. So we'll do it like this, as long as you're okay with this, Anthony.
Nope, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
So Anthony, we're on the first number of new business, which was the ED candidate recruitment update. And I had just let all the board members know that the ED search firm would like to do interviews with the candidates on Thursday. So they just would like us to have an open schedule for Thursday so they can set up interviews
So are you talking about this Thursday?
this Thursday.
At what time?
So they're actually setting up time. So if there's any time that wouldn't work for you, then I did ask the board members to send it to me and then I can send it to the ED search firm. So then they can try to work around that.
Yeah, because as you guys probably can tell, because I haven't been in the past couple of meetings because of my health, I have a doctor's appointment, so it has to be after 3 o'clock.
After
Okay.
3?
It's the same as Rebecca, so
Yeah.
maybe there's the majority can be after.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay.
Moving on to number 2, which is the mural project.
And I think Louise, or maybe all 3 of you are going to tell us a little about this mural project. Thank you for your patience as we've gotten this meeting going,
Thank you so much.
but we're excited to hear about this project.
Do you need us to relocate? those?
No, I think theoretically, Rebecca, can you hear them?
What time tomorrow?
Hear them.
Yeah, okay, great. So I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Louise Smith, I'm an artist here in Hudson.
I'm Bridget Smith, and I'm a teacher here in Hudson.
And I'm Victoria Manuela, and I do a lot of things, but I'm a grief and death doula and work in the hospice care system in the Berkshires, and also a sound artist.
So we have sort of a bulletproof, do you wanna give them?
Oh, yeah. These out. So yeah, we have some notes we're going to share about a project that we are seeking your approval for, located on the wall across the street here, where you can see we had a previous project and we want to update it a little bit this year. So this is the letter that we had written, and I've got copies for you. There's some links in it, so if you want to see any of the live links, I think Nick.
I think I shared, yeah, or if I haven't, I will.
Great. Yeah, so back in 2020, we did a mural this, you could see it's kind of disheveled and falling apart up there. Based on COVID situation, we had to do some heat pasted self-portrait pieces with some kids from the school. And this year we're hoping to like revitalize our.
I remember it, it's very beautiful.
Thank you so much.
But the weather, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So this year it's going to be, we're hoping for it to be completely painted
A mural on the wall,
on
permanent?
the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a-
And this location we've just really enjoyed our previous experience here. We don't want to be in the center of tourist traffic. We really want to have an impact on the actual city of Hudson and the people that really live here. So the decision to have it on that wall is pretty critical for us.
Yeah.
Got a nice wall over there.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, it's a great location.
And we found when we were doing the mural in 2020 that it is a really trafficked spot. Like the basketball court was always busy. And there were kids all over the playground coming over and asking what we were doing when we were installing it. So it just seems like a great opportunity to add a little vibrancy and color to an area that's utilized, but could use a little beauty.
Yeah.
And bringing people that, especially people that visit Hudson that tend to stay just like on a certain side of Warren down here to see more of what Hudson's about and like the heart of Hudson. Yeah, I feel like
There could easily be 1,000 cars a day.
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't, we don't have that clicker anymore, but the highway bar had a clicker,
Yeah.
and they said there's a lot of traffic.
So the group of students who we work with are through the expanded learning time program at MC Smith, and that's just an opportunity for supplemental instruction after school. So we work with these students once a week for an hour. They're in 4th and 5th grade, and there's about 14 of them in the group. And we just want to give them an opportunity to do community-based projects to kind of get them out into the community, doing artwork, working with local artists, which is how I started collaborating with Lou and Victoria. And this year we received a grant, so we have a lot more money to work with on this specific
In
project.
2020, it was all solely just us kind of giving our time after school.
Yeah. So this year we have money for supplies and we brought
So much.
Victoria on board to add a whole extra element into the wall, which is going to be not only visual now, but will have sound. And so maybe Victoria can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, bypassers will be able to look at the mural, and then there will be QR codes placed around the mural that they can just scan with their phone, and then that'll transport them to different interviews of people that we've been collecting different interviews around town. We just started the process. We did it at the library this weekend and had a lot of people come, and the mayor is gonna be a part of it, and you all are welcome to, and we can touch base about that after. But, and the kids too, and so the kids formulated 3 questions, which were, what do you love about living in Hudson? What do you hope for the future of Hudson? And these are things that they would like in terms of change. A lot of the kids are in our playgrounds, but also just opening up those questions to the wider community. And the last question was, what actions can people in the community take to make those things happen? So the kids hope to like inspire people to create more bridges between communities and also, yeah, I guess you've been working with them a lot more because you see them, but have they mentioned like more specifically outside of that since the last meeting that I've been in?
No, not since that last meeting, because we were on spring break.
That's true.
But we have talked about environmental racism and environmental justice and had really great conversations. So our goal with them is we wrote and recorded these interview questions with people from the community. That was really important to us to have a lot of different voices represented and impacting what goes on this wall.
Yeah, people of like 4 generations who have lived in Hudson came and offered their
Thoughts and
perspective.
stories,
Yeah.
So then they'll take those interviews. Tomorrow we'll meet with them. They'll get to hear what people said in those interviews and then come up with their own artistic interpretation to visually display that on the wall. And yeah,
That kind of sums it up. Yeah. We're trying to hopefully complete it by the end of the school year. We've done it once before through COVID, so we feel like
it's a
we can do it
doable
again.
goal and hopefully have like a nice reception and unveiling to invite everybody from Bliss Towers in the community to come. And families of the students, the people who were interviewed. So
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to mention about the sound piece, I think it was also, the link was put in the PDF, but it's not just like a straight interview, it'll be like interwoven with music and different sounds of like kids playing. And so it's sort of like a mosaic of like the collective voice of Hudson and the heart of Hudson.
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically we would just like approval to use that wall again.
How does that go?
I think it
No,
sounds
Claire, I think you should add in the playground.
great.
So there was a couple different levels. At the last meeting, I talked about, because we're not sure of which direction we're going for development.
Yeah.
That was the question we were gonna ask you.
I think that should be a part of the project, just like getting people to think about what it means to have a changing home. But in the meantime, because that'll still be a long process, whatever the decision ends up being, we were thinking of doing like a playground beautification day, finding funds to paint the playgrounds and like, add more mulch, maybe plant some flowers so that in the meantime, this summer they have a nicer space to play. And I think both of those things together would draw a lot
That
of
would be amazing.
participation for each other.
We were
so.
also, depending on how much funds we have left over after this project, there's the possibility that the rest of that could go towards plantings and
Cool.
other aspects of that
Cool.
piece of it.
And we can do any kind of like marketing or anything around it together. So if we wanted to start planning that, that sounds great.
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay,
That makes
cool.
Yeah, I've already had one person reach out because she doesn't live locally but wants to contribute and has asked, like, can I donate to this? So. Yeah,
Okay.
we could definitely- Yeah.
And then we were mentioning like if we wanted to set up a time here and I could bring the recording equipment and anyone in the community here wanted to come and share their
I
perspective.
feel like that's
That would be
an
really
important
amazing. Yeah.
piece of it if people are.
I know that
interested.
kids in Hudson, a lot of youth programs do sound recording and audio recording. So you'll probably get a lot of interested kids that might not want to paint, but would want to just do
Yeah.
like box pop interviews.
That would
That'd be
be
amazing.
great. Yeah. Yeah.
One of our hopes for the wall too, which was a student's idea in our group, was to intentionally leave a portion of it blank and at the unveiling ceremony, have tools available for people to add to the wall right then and there too. So everyone feels like they've had their hand in the project. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds beautiful. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming. I definitely,
Yeah, I think as long as the board seems in support of this, then we can just move forward with figuring out the details and the logistics of it. But I think unless anybody from the board has any objection or any questions, I think we'll just try to help facilitate the process moving forward. Rebecca Borges, it looks like you're off mute.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I totally support this. This is great. I'm super excited to see that wall get a new life. And this whole project sounds really cool. And I think, yeah, there's other ways to connect and yeah, great.
yeah. Yes, thank you again.
Thank you.
Exciting.
All right.
To do a whole wall, to do a whole, you might need some scaffolding.
Yes.
Good point.
We learned that.
It popped in my head, yeah.
Yes. If you look at the other one, it's just sort of.
As far as we could reach from a ladder.
The first
Yeah.
one you did was beautiful, but if you want to get intense, yeah, scaffolds.
So extending rollers.
Well, you
Not
got
letting that.
Michelangelo's good
We'll have to,
scaffold.
yes.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah, thank you all so much
Thank
for
you for
coming.
coming.
Thanks for your touch.
Really appreciate it.
I'll share my
Okay,
email.
Great.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, I love this. I love this.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I can send it to Bridget.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually wanted to do the options that line table,
Okay.
and now it's supposed to be decided.
Okay.
so I'm going forward.
You make a good crew.
Thanks. Thank you.
Don't
We look
forget,
forward to
Hudson
seeing you
history
around.
has to be. Hudson history.
Well, definitely
Photo
come back
more.
when we collect more recordings. We'd love to have you.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, we
Like a-
really appreciate it.
From the past, moving into the future,
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Almost like a rainbow. like,
Exactly.
No, how to go. It's beautiful.
Right.
But there is a pot of gold.
You could find them.
It's new, all
Right,
things
but you get some
new.
lucky charms.
Just keep searching. We can.
Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, number 3 is election reform.
I'm not going.
So on the last meeting, Brian, our legal counsel had gave us some options to choose from on how we wanted to move forward. We knew that we wanted to do another election. We were deciding if we wanted to do it in either July or December, I believe, and we decided we wanted to do it sooner rather than later. Anyone jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. He also gave us the option of having a stipend for when the new candidates start their term, which I would love for the board to move forward with that agreement of where they would get $160 a month, $2,000 a year, where it wouldn't affect their rent. And so, yeah, so I'm ready to do the special election in July, and I would like it to, their term start off with a stipend as well. And if anyone agrees with that, disagrees with that, please feel free to speak.
I agree with that. Because that's-
I also agree.
I do too.
Okay, Brian, we're ready to
Anthony?
move forward. Oh, sorry, Anthony, sorry.
Is that an idea that you are also in favor of adding a stipend to the tenant commissioner position?
Yeah, that's fine. Nobody want to turn down money.
Well put.
Special.
So are you okay with us telling the lawyers to move forward with this tonight? And they start gearing us up for the election in July and the new policy for the stipend to begin?
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
All right, Brian.
Were there any questions, Brian?
So Ravonda, I think we would need
I have a
a,
question.
okay. The only thing we'd need, and I'll open it up to any discussion, is a motion to adopt the policy that we circulated last meeting, last week.
I'll make that
Okay,
motion. Oh, it's okay. I'll make
Claire
that.
makes that motion and I will second that.
My question, was just.
Oh,
We
wait,
should vote
all
on
in
it
favor?
first.
Yeah.
Oh,
All in favor?
Or do you
Aye.
want to,
Any opposed? Motion passes to adopt what Brian said.
my question is just, what is that? Does Anthony have to run again, or is his position until his term is up? Because he has already been sitting.
Yeah,
Good
so,
question.
yeah, so unfortunately, it's just, it's a whole redo of the
Okay.
election.
I could hear that admonition in his voice when he said, I guess, so I was like, that must mean that he'd have to run again,
Well,
so let
that's-
me just be clear.
But-
that's something that we all talked about and we all
Okay.
were kind of understanding, the lawyers included, that this is a real burden on Anthony, because he just had to run and he
Yeah.
very clearly was elected and there's nobody questioning that. And so we wanted to find out a way to try to help him, but it seems like if we're going to be fair, it has to be a kind of start fresh. That's what I understood, Brian.
Right. I mean,
But-
Yeah.
oh, sorry. But I was gonna say, there is that, we have got a lot of information on what we can do for the candidates. So Robert, we can have a day where we open it up for you in the community room, and instead of you having to go knock door to door, we can post flyers for you and say, Anthony's gonna be in the community room on this day at this time. Please come in to sign his petitions. So there's other options out there to make it a little easier for you as well.
Well, that's fine. I'm still saying you're gonna run into problems where, we just don't have people who come out and do these things.
Yeah.
I mean, I could sit up there and whoever else is sitting up there with me to have the tenants come in, and I'm just telling you now, I don't see tenants really coming in. You may get a handful, you're not gonna get a whole bunch. It's gonna be back to what it was, where people like me or whoever else is gonna have to actively go out there and get signatures. So what happens if it comes to that part? That we don't get nobody to show up for these meetings where we're sitting up there waiting for tenants to come and nobody comes, or not enough people come.
well, that's not the only method for getting signatures. I mean, that's just one avenue to hopefully make it a little bit easier to get. We reduced the number of signatures to 20, I believe, and just provided access to some of the common areas to make it easier, hopefully, to get the signatures. But that doesn't prevent anybody from doing the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
Mhm. Yes, thank you for that, Brian. Any questions on that? Okay, moving right on to number 4, which is the solicitation for accountant services. And I will hand that over to Nick.
Yep, so that's just a document that you have before you, which we're just looking for a kind of verbal approval from the board to move forward. This is something that was suggested by the attorneys in lieu of a new director coming in, giving them a opportunity once we put out solicitation for accountants to have a set of potential accountants ready to go for them to hire. And it seems as though that's a standard that is often enjoyed by new directors coming in. And so we want to offer that to them so that they can bring someone on with them to provide that. And just to be clear, this is a outside accountant, not hiring an employee for the housing authority. So if you all have reviewed that document and approve it, then we will move forward with putting that solicitation out for potential new accountants. Any, I guess, what should we do? And everyone in favor?
Yeah.
All in,
Somebody have to make a motion.
I make a motion to accept.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion passes.
Wonderful. We'll get that out there.
Yes.
Tenant debt repayment. We had a couple things to handle in between the last meeting and this one. We got a letter of intent from Hudson Catskill Housing Coalition, which was one thing required. And then we received on our end a complete list of all the individual debts of tenants. Obviously names and personal information redacted. So we now have a fairly or a very accurate portrayal of what each household's debt is currently. And so I think we're ready to move forward with for the next meeting, crafting a resolution and all the final details. So I think both sides have kind of provided all the information that we needed, and we're in a place where we can move forward now. Brian, did you have any updates? Other than that, I know or were you just reminding me to put this on the agenda tonight to talk about?
I thought it would be a good idea just to have it before the board and do a resolution to accept that on behalf of the tenants, because the money is really not going to be housing authority money per se. It's not going to be income to you, but it's going to come in and as a grant to tenants who have outstanding accounts. And what we wanted from the donor was a statement of what the purpose of the funds would be. And it was, like you said, it was very broad, just to retire any debt that any particular tenant had from paying rent.
Do you think that's, since we're not actually accepting any money on behalf of the authority, that it's all going to the tenants and we're just kind of facilitating, that we're okay to do that without a formal written resolution tonight? Or do you think that needs to be a formal written?
I think you should just do you can do orally, we can do a resolution reflected in the minutes, and then we fine.
All right.
So
Very exciting.
That's very exciting.
I love that. Thank you for all the work you all have been doing on that, Brian, as well.
sure, it's a great thing.
Thank you.
So
I'm just curious. So I'm super excited about this. And I just wondered if the funds go, like, is the grant made to a fund that then pays, or does it go individually to the actual tenants?
go ahead, Brian.
Okay, what our advice was, and doing a little research on the Section 8 side of how does this impact everybody, is that we can manage it. It'll come to us to manage, and we will credit it to each tenant's account. So the funds.
That will be a simpler way to go about it. Cool.
Rather than just showing, we don't want to show it as a incoming cash to the housing authority. We want to see it coming in and going out, or actually not even coming in, but going out to each tenant's account.
Right. Perfect.
So we're kind of managing the money for the donor.
So do we have a motion to
I will make that motion.
here we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Motion.
Nick, just for the record, for the minutes, the motion. I know.
What is this motion specifically saying, Brian? Can you give us a help with the wording?
Just to accept the grant on behalf of the tenants and to allocate those funds to retire the arrears, as you can list in the resolution.
Perfect, thank you. And let's just clarify, since we had one member abstaining, so we have 4 other. Anthony, did you vote on this?
No, I didn't.
Should Anthony abstain too as a tenant?
I'll leave that up to him. Kind of depends upon whether he's going to benefit from it or not. If he's going to benefit from it, I would say you should probably abstain.
Yeah, so that was, did you hear that, Anthony?
No, what are you saying?
He said if a tenant stands to potentially benefit from this debt repayment, then they should abstain from this vote.
Okay. You mean like if it has something to do with, it has nothing to do with me. So.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we do that vote again really quickly? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
All right. Motion carries.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. That is a very exciting thing. Too bad we don't have any of the local, we do have a local news outfit here to report on this.
Yes, we do, and a great one at that.
It is.
Yes.
So that's a very exciting thing for our tenants. And I know a lot of people are going to be very excited to hear that news.
Yes.
And we'll also have to get a thank you out there to HCHC.
Yeah. All right.
So now we have two resolutions. The first one, 526, is a resolution essentially extending the legal services that we originally brought on to run tandem to my term as interim director. But since we haven't brought on a new director yet, we're just going to extend that another 6 months to give the new director a chance to get their feet under them. And so it's same law firm, same services, same everything. We're just extending 6 months.
I make a motion to accept resolution 526.
I will second that.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion carries. Oh, anyone opposed? We've got all ayes, so we can establish.
Okay.
Resolution 527 is a resolution allowing the interim executive director, myself, to sign an agreement, a non-exclusive agreement with Unity Now to provide wireless internet services to our tenants. Just to make clear, because we've had a few different discussions about this, this is not a wide-scale HHA paying for internet services for anyone. This is only allowing Unity Now to have access to provide their services directly to our tenants in the building in the same way which Mid-Hudson Cable, Verizon, Spectrum already come and use the current mainframe to offer their services.
Okay.
So this is just basically giving them access to the system. Then they will be able to sell their services to any individual tenant and operate like another provider. And then if the board or future director, anyone wants to, procure more services or ask for bigger, better services, they can do that directly from Unity Now. But this is just getting in the building essentially.
I'll make a motion to accept this resolution.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have a question. So
Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
you're saying at this point right now, Mid-Hudson no longer has the monopoly on this building?
Correct.
Interesting. Okay.
What?
A bill got passed.
Yeah, I think that it seems like some federal laws changed recently saying that one company could not have exclusive access to the actual system, and so now other providers can come in. And Unity Now, as a local company, and they have requested to be able to come in and be able to offer their services.
Okay. Hey, that's good.
Yes, that is. And I just want to say congratulations, Shaheen.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to add for the record, I was just abstaining from that vote.
Okay.
We did all in favor. Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah.
And then, I believe, next, we will have to go into executive session to, discuss a meeting that has to happen, or discuss the topic that has to happen in executive session. But there's no other items on the agenda, so if we do have any questions from the public, we'll take them right now.
All right, I just have, how many candidates for executive director do you have now? Just the number?
At this time, we have 4.
4, okay. All right, now, with the new tenant commissioner setup, is it going to be, does this mean that from now on, will the elections always be in July?
No, this is actually a special election.
Okay, so then, if this December, there be another election?
That's a good
I
question.
forget what the policy
Are you
says.
try to do staggered terms?
Yes,
We're
we
gonna
are
keep
doing
staggered.
staggered.
Because now if Anthony Bennett has to run again, will his term be until this December or will it be until next December?
Let Brian, we have the policy, but maybe Brian can answer that. Did you hear the question, Brian?
I did, and what I recommend is, and the reason why Anthony has to run again is we have 2 commissioners who ran during the one election that we found problems with. So there really was no way to separate one commissioner from the other, unfortunately. So what we're trying to do is to wind up with everybody to have 2-year terms, but staggered. So the policy doesn't require us to have elections on any particular, the initial election. So I think we're essentially going to move the elections to July. The highest vote getter will get the 2-year term. The second highest voter will get the 1-year term and have to run again in the following July.
Okay, so the elections will be July from now on. One with the highest votes gets the 2-year term, and the one with the second highest gets the 1-year term.
Correct.
I'm glad you asked that question because it made it sound a lot more like it makes sense.
Has anybody, will the commissioners be the only ones getting the stipend with the regular? So still the rest of you commissioners get nothing.
Well, we get something, we get you guys.
Great answer. But that's also interesting to think about the elections happening in July. Speaking to some of Anthony's issues, I can actually see that really helping in terms of getting signatures. On a nice day in June, you can find 20 people just right outside of the front door of the Housing Authority on a nice afternoon. And so I think there'll be a lot more people congregating, a lot more people out than there are in late December when folks can be kind of holed up in their apartments. So it would be, I hope that summer election ends up being a much easier time to get people out and activated for the elections.
And just for like tenants' knowledge, they can sign multiple candidates' petitions, correct?
No,
No.
once they
Okay.
sign one, they can't sign.
That's
the other.
good to know,
Mhm.
because if they're, if there's 20 people out in the lobby,
You got to
And
make
then-
sure.
Anthony comes down, then 10 minutes later, somebody else comes down, asks the same
Right.
people to sign. If the same people sign, then it'll be a.
And I think a big part of what needs to happen is, and we talked about this with Brian, is that leading up to the election, especially this first election, there's going to need to be kind of an information campaign,
Yes.
really making it absolutely clear when the election is, how many signatures you need to get, the different ways you can vote,
The
all
office
of
should
these,
be an
all of these
infographic.
We're gonna
details.
be having a voter roll, everybody that is qualified to vote. And if you are on there and you feel like you are qualified, you go into the office, you get on the rolls.
Yeah.
So Really good
That's it.
stuff.
That's an interesting question about how many petitions, because, you know, I answered that in thinking that we're electing one commissioner at a time. And you can't sign everybody's petition, but I would
Yeah.
say that since we're electing two, you could probably sign two.
I would think you would be able to sign two.
You
if
can
there were
sign
two-
everybody's.
Two positions.
Okay. So yes, they can sign multiple petitions?
Two.
Well, two,
Okay.
right? If there's two
So they can
people up,
pick two people.
then you should be able to vote for two.
We
You should
need-
be, or you should be able to sign two.
A special meeting for our tenants and an infographic to go out with this.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, comments from the public, either on Zoom or in person here?
You know when the next meeting is going to be? The next meeting open to the public is going to be?
Do you have your calendar?
Yeah.
I know it is the third Monday of every month.
So in May, that'll be the 16th,
May 16th at 6
6
p.m.
PM.
All right, and so there's not going to be a special, as far as you know, there's not going to be a special.
As far as I know, but stay close, girl.
So maybe at the next meeting, they'll announce the new executive director.
Can you please pray with me every night?
I will.
Okay.
We'll keep you updated. Thank you for your interest.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session. We'll ask everyone in the room to leave. We will ask our online support to put us into a breakout group or however we do that. Please leave Mr. Lawler
Come back.
with us,
I'll call you when we're done.
but everybody else